Hello, I'm Victor Antunes, host of the Autism All-Stars podcast. Today I am with Christina Tassy. I have to admit, I've been calling her Tassy for the longest time because she has got a last name that sounds like a nickname for a first name, but she's been okay with it. She has a rather long professional title, and I'll let her go ahead and say so I don't mumble it up.
Thank you, Victor. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Christina Tassy. I'm at the Miami-Dade County Department of Cultural Affairs, and my official title is Chief of Arts Education, Access, and Engagement.
Great. And we were just talking about an upcoming festival, May 3rd in Cutler Bay. I'll let Christina tell us more about that.
Thank you. So our upcoming festival is the All Kids Included Family Arts Festival. It's a festival happening on May 3rd at the Dennis C. Moss Cultural Arts Center in Cutler Bay. It's really a festival that's celebrating its 19th year, so we're really excited and proud about that. And it's an opportunity for children with disabilities and those without disabilities to come together under the auspices of the arts and just celebrate the arts together as a community.
I love that it's inclusive in the sense that I have an autistic daughter, and I try to have her around neurotypical kids as much as possible, so they can see what different types of behaviors. Her little brother is neurotypical, so I think it benefits both of them. Because right now, as we all know, there's an explosion of autistic kids. It used to be 1 in 36. I heard recently, it might be wrong, but it's around 1 in 29 now, which is kind of frightening. So it's good to have the neurotypical kids around the neurodivergent kids, and kids of also intellectual disabilities. So it's fantastic that you guys are doing this. So what exactly will be going on at the festival?
Absolutely, and I'm really happy that you brought this up because over the years, the festival has evolved. So typically when you attend a common festival, it's just for the community. The All Kids Included Festival is really geared towards the child with a disability. And we offer performances, resource for families, but we also take it a step further and make it sensory inclusive. So we have very specific aspects of the festival, such as a quiet room, for example. So if the child needs to be taken away from the crowd and needs a little bit of time to recenter themselves, basically, or just have some quiet time, we offer that. We also have quite a few apparatuses like listening devices or other accommodations that we make specifically for the child in need. However, the festival itself is open to everybody, so people with families, as you mentioned, you have two children, so they can both enjoy the arts together. But our focus, again, remains on making accommodations specifically for the child who has those extreme needs.
That's great. And my daughter, she has a tough time socializing. I'll take her to a playground, and I can see her looking at the other kids, and she wants to take part. She just doesn't know how. She's 8 years old right now, but I have seen the progression. So I try to have her as much around just neurotypical kids as possible. So this is fantastic. Now, 19 years ago in Dade County, I grew up here. So I know that 19 years ago, autism was not part of the conversation. When did you see that evolve?
So it's very interesting because the person who started this program, actually, my predecessor, she was Chief of Arts Education, Francine Anderson, her child was autistic, right? And it was her firstborn. And she immediately realized the lack of services or a lack of accessibility in our community. And it was her choice, her vision to create this festival, and she did it from scratch. So again, it was born out of a definite need for a specific family member, but it quickly grew, right, and evolved into what it is today. And I know that festival specifically has gone from being somewhat small, making sure that we address the needs for that community in particular, but then over the years it grew, right? And we realized that community, they need their own space. They need their own space to celebrate the arts with their families. So we had to pare the festival down a little bit to make it really address the needs of those children without making it overwhelming, especially if they do have social anxiety or if they're not very comfortable in a large social setting. So we were able to pare the festival down, but to make it extremely accessible just for them. And again, offering options like a quiet room to give them a time to recenter and refocus and understand that this space is for them. Even the performances that we choose are very accommodating. For example, this year at the festival, we'll have a performance by a group called ... and it's a sensory inclusive performance, right? Where we'll make sure that the lighting is just right and the noise level is just fine and the music is not too high pitched or anything like that. So again, we take into consideration a lot of sensory needs or sensory sensitivity during the festival to make sure that our patrons and our residents, especially those who really need that environment, are cared for.
That's great. You know, you talk about the community. I call it my tribe.
Yes.
And we do need to have our own spaces.
Correct.
You know, and even the parents. Like, I'm part of a group called Just for Dads. It's through the Center of Autism and Disabilities, and it's all Autism Dads. They also have a group called Just for Moms, and it is fantastic to get around people that, you know, you go in that room, everyone's speaking the same language, the same problems, ups and downs. It's really beneficial. So I can't have a conversation with my daughter, but I just know that she's also benefiting from that small space being for them. Now, talking about these events, you know, I've been on the journey for 5 years now. And every day I find out new events that are going on. And I don't think that most people in Dade County are aware of how much is going on. In fact, I'll talk to people and I'm like, you know, you're almost like a secret society. I was talking to a gentleman who's involved in the special needs community. He'd never heard of CARD, which is like the biggest autism, group in Dade County. They're they're with the UM and government. So how are you guys doing the community reach outs?
So Francine Anderson, when she started this initiative, the All Kids Included initiative, she created a steering group, right? So these are community leaders comprised. I believe the group now has reached over 50 community members. So you have people from various cultural arts center, but also from the public school system, Boys and Girls Club, the Advocacy Network on Disability. So all these concerned citizens coming together and help guide or steer our All Kids Included initiative. So not only do we have these voices to help us steer our programming, but they also serve as our basically foot soldiers, right? They're out in the community, informing the community of our efforts. In addition to that, we're involved in some marketing strategies, of course, promoting the festival throughout the community, not just broad range marketing, but also targeting specific communities, such as CARD, the Children's Trust, who are a major funder, for example, and working directly with them to promote our activities directly to the community.
Now, CARD has got a weekly newsletter, which I'm part of. I thank God for that newsletter. You guys also have a newsletter? We
do have a newsletter through the department. It's not directly through our All Kids Included initiative, but we do promote activities through the department's newsletter, and your constituents are welcome to check us out. It's miamidadearts.org, so they can sign up for the department's newsletter. And we also have an internal community with the county for their specific employees, and the county has over 28,000 employees, so we're able to promote via the internal county structures as well.
You know, when I walked into the office, I was kind of amazed at how big, because it's a really big office.
Yes, it is.
So I can just imagine you guys have got a huge budget. How is this, you know, where did it start and where's it going? So our department is heavily subsidized. I mean, we are part of county government. So we're heavily supported, I should say, not only by the Miami-Dade County Mayor, Daniela Levin-Caba, but also all of our county commissioners. In addition to that, we have a Cultural Affairs Council who happens to be our board, and they're direct advocates of our work. They are appointed by county commissioners and also by the mayor. So we have continuous support from the community at large, but also our civic leaders, right? So with our board, our immediate civic leaders know exactly what's going on in terms of work and our policies internally. Right. Now, I'm not going to say names because maybe I shouldn't, but there's commissioners that have got autistic children on the spectrum, and they're highly involved, which I'm so happy as a parent. And I got to say, I've been around the country, and not every, you know, you take things for granted when you're from somewhere, and Miami is just blessed with a plethora of these autism programs. Now, one concern for me, as you know, my daughter's 8, so I still have a lot of time, but one concern for me is as these kids start aging out of the system, what is going to be happening, you know, to them? So is this something that you guys are involved in? So there's a lot to unravel here, so just bear with me. Of course, I understand and I know which commissioner you're referring to. And we have their support, right? 100%. In fact, all of our commissioners support our work. But when you have somebody who can speak to an issue from a personal standpoint, it makes a much, much bigger impact, and it makes a difference. And we're so thankful for her support because that commissioner's children happen to participate in our programs.
One of them being our Youth Arts in the Parks, which happen annually, and I can go into a little bit more details about that. In terms of looking forward, and that's something we're dealing with and we're actually tackling right now. And I have to say, we have wonderful support from the Children's Trust as well. They provide us with a hefty grant annually to run all of our kids included programs. But we also have a wonderful grant from the Taft Foundation, who their support has been specifically to reach that next segment, right? So currently our program is mostly for children ages 6 to 17. If the child has a disability, we'll take them up to the age of 22. But the Taft Foundation is pushing us to go beyond all the way to the age of 30 and create programming and offer programming for the population once it ages out of our typical 18, 22 age range. So that's where we're going now. And that program that we're offering is called the Animation Arts for Young Adults. So it's an animation program using licensed graphic system to encourage young people with disabilities, specifically intellectual disabilities, to engage in something else created specifically for them, once again.
Now, is that a job prep program or is just a straight up arts program?
You're asking all the right questions. It's like you're in my brain. So that's the next step, right? How do we offer this program to these young adults and then help further that into something larger, perhaps a job program? So we've been talking to the Children's Trust about it, and also the Taft Foundation, who's putting us in touch with groups like the Demoya Foundation or even University of Miami, to see how we could hopefully expand that program. But again, it's baby steps, right? It's creating a program, seeing how it works. We had it for the very first time last year in 2024. It was a pilot program. It went really well. This year, not only did we offer it in the fall, we're also offering it in the spring. So it's coming up, I believe, May 6th is the start date, or it could be May 3rd. Sorry, it's a Saturday. It happens every Saturday. And we've expanded the program to go from a 6-week session to an actual 8-week session and offer more time. So instead of meeting for just 2 hours a week, our students will be meeting for 3 hours a week, once a week. So we're slowly growing the program, starting to address the constituents' needs, and then from there we'll be able to determine how we push it forward in a broader sense to hopefully make it job basis or creating jobs to move forward.
And these weekly Saturday programs, where are they and how can families plug into them?
So it depends on which program, but specifically for Animation Arts, which again is for young adults, so 22 to 30, that program happens in Miami Lakes at the Mary Collins Community Center. So if they are interested in more information, again, they can access our website, which is miamidadearts.org, and look for the Arts Education, Access, and Engagement tab, and there they will find all the listings on our programs.
Great. You also mentioned the Arts in the Parks. Want to get into that?
Correct. So Youth Arts in the Parks, again, started by Francine Anderson to serve a population which needed the service, right? That happens in the fall and in the spring. It's 12 weeks of hands-on visual arts, creative arts, a variety of multidisciplinary arts courses. Initially, we had 6 sites happening throughout Miami-Dade County, way north, all the way south to Camp Matagumbe in Kendall. Again, with the support of the Taft Foundation, we were able to expand that program into Homestead. So we now have a 7th site in Homestead. We also offer the programs online. So if a child is not able to attend physically, they can try the Zoom version of the program. Again, it happens in the fall, 7 sites. In the spring, 7 sites. And we have a very successful summer program, which is the Summer Creative Arts Camp, happening June 9th, I want to say, for about 8 weeks. And it runs through the summer as a summer camp, and that one happens at the Miami Elks Lodge over Sunset Drive in that area, so mid-county. And I have to say very proudly, so we need to envision, right, expansion once again. We just had registration open on May 7th, I believe, and we reached maximum capacity within 2 days. So we had 91 registrations for a total of 70 slots. So we know, again, it's a service that's extremely needed for a community. And we need to envision expansion and perhaps growing that program as well.
Absolutely, because Dade County is roughly 2 million people, so 70 people is like, it's like
Correct.
A fraction of a fraction
Correct.
of a fraction. Now, you talk about expansion. So you talk about this program in Miami Lakes, then there's another one down in the southern part of the county.
Yes.
So, if you're at either extreme, it might not be doable. So how is the county going to expand so people anywhere in the county could access these programs?
So the one in Miami Lakes is specifically for young adults. Youth Arts in the Parks happens Cherry Grove, Camp Matagumbe. Again, we have 7 different sites for that one happening throughout the county. So I think there we have a little bit more of a spread. Miami Lakes, that was a pilot program that we started last spring. Again, it's done extremely well. So we've expanded from just 1 session a year to 2 sessions a year. We do have, or we're aware of other municipalities who are very interested in bringing that program to their residents as well. Unfortunately, at this time, just the bandwidth and the manpower, right, it takes to expand programming. And we want to make sure we get it right for one community before we run out and spread all over the county. So in terms of Youth Arts in the Parks, I think we're pretty well spread out in terms of geographic locations. Again, 7 sites plus 1 virtual, so you're bound to touch somebody in a different part of our county. Animation for young adults, because that is so age specific. It's for now, I think the Miami Lakes location is okay, but again, there will always be a need for expansion and moving to other parts of the community. But you have to factor in the space and the location and the municipality who's inviting you, and are they going to support you, and how are you going to make it happen, and the staff and the teaching artists. So it takes a lot. And most of our programmings even has behavioral therapists on site, right? So it's not just moving pen and paper to a different location. It's an entire operation that you're actually moving to a different location. So it requires a lot of forward thinking and logistical work to make it happen successfully.
As an outsider, it helps to hear this because it's easy to criticize. Why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? But then when you talk about all the logistics, it puts things in a proper perspective, because it is hard.
I'm so happy to hear you say that, because as I've become chief, I've been in the department for 27 years now. And I've always managed a different program and some grants programs. And as a grants administrator, we set expectations on our groups, and we say, we're going to give you this much money and we want you to reach, fill in the number of kids we want you to reach. But when you become the implementer, when you're actually doing the work and trying to reach those students, you realize how hard it becomes to have a vision and then implement that vision. And then it's not always because you build it, they will come. There's still a lot of legwork required to make it happen and to grow it. So it takes a tribe, and sometimes it takes moving mountains to make it happen. But at the department, we're certainly committed. I have an amazing team. It's 6 of us administering 12 programs, 3 grants programs. So we're committed to making it happen.
6 people, you must be committed, because that's not a lot of people for a county as big as Miami. Now, we've been talking so far about young people up to the age of 30.
Correct.
But there's also in the equation, there's the parents. Do you all do anything with parents? And if you don't, what do you recommend to parents?
So in terms of parents, we have not been creating direct programming for parents, but we do have connections through our steering group. So people like or organizations, I should say, like Parent to Parent, and the Advocacy on Disability Network. So we're able to connect parents to greater or broader organizations whose focus is serving directly parents, right? So our mission is providing arts access to young people and young adults, and then we'll let the existing organizations who are already doing that amazing work keep pushing the work forward.
Right. So these are all organizations outside of the county, right?
Correct.
For the parents. Okay, that's great. Now, I will say, maybe I said it already, I don't know, but for the parents that are out there, there are a lot of parent groups out there. I'm part of Just for Dads through the University of Miami card. There's also Just for Moms. There's Parent to Parent, and there's, if you Google it, there's live and there's Zoom. And myself, I like live. After the COVID, I got zoomed out.
Yes.
I want to have the
box.
It's like our meeting today. We could have done it by Zoom, but it's so much better to have you in front of me and speaking to you. This has been really educational for me. And a big reason I've done this is to educate myself, so now I can educate other people about this.
Absolutely.
Now, is there anything else that maybe I didn't ask you that you'd like let the audience know?
So again, a reminder about our festival on May 3rd.
Yes.
Cutler Bay, Dennis C. Moss Cultural Arts Center. We really encourage you to come out if you just want to check it out, right? You're welcome to do so. We'll have music, performances, and again, providing very sensory inclusive activities and an environment for the children who really need it. Again, our website, miamidadearts.org. And if you have any questions, you're welcome to just call us 305-375-4634. That's our main line at the Department of Cultural Affairs, and we'll certainly be happy to take care of you and help answer any questions. And if we don't have immediate access to the information, we'll go out and get it and make sure that we get it back to you.
Great. And the May 3rd event, What are the times, and people to register or just show up?
No, you can just show up. It's from 10 to 3. There are a series of activities, timed activities, and I know there'll be rotating activities, so families do get a chance to try different things. In addition to that, we will have those resource organizations there to help parents, to service parents and service families in general. So we really encourage our community to come out and support the general county community, but also children with disabilities. Again, May 3rd, 10 to 3. I'm sorry, 10 to 3 p.m.
And also come out for yourself. I have to say, like the dad's group.
Yes.
I was very resistant to going for some reason. Then when I went, I was like, oh my goodness, why did I come here a year ago? So I would encourage, the families are out there listening to this. If you haven't been to an event, come to an event. It will literally change your your life. Once you plug in, because there's so much available out there. But if you're not plugged in, you might as well not even have it. So this has been just fantastic.
Great.
I'm so grateful you guys gave me the time, because I know that you guys, 6 people, 12 programs, you're very busy. It's a very big office, and very gracious of you to give me this time, and I certainly appreciate it, and everybody listening to the podcast will certainly appreciate it.
Thank you, Victor. We really appreciate you taking the time to visit. It started from our Miami Emerging Arts Leaders event. That's where you met Graham,
Yes.
and who put us in touch. So again, thank you for making the time to, again, try something different, and you learned from that event. So thank you for making the time for us and for opening our programming to your audience and your viewers. And we'd like to invite you to come back anytime. We can talk a little bit more and expand on different programs that we have available here.
Thank you so much, Christina.
Of course, thank you. Nice to meet you.
Thanks. Likewise.